Hey, I'm Kenneth Wajda. I'm a professional photographer here in Colorado. Welcome to another one of my photo chats. So today I'm going to talk about the Rolleiflex 2.8C. This is my only 2.8 Rolleiflex. I have a 3.5F, but this is my only 2.8. And I've never come across an F that was affordable. And the 2.8C doesn't have a removable finder like the F does, but it's a great camera, and it has a Schneider Zenitar lens instead of the planar, which is just as good, and it's got a 2.8, so I can pretty much go anywhere and shoot at a 60 or a 30 at the 2.8 and guarantee I can photograph in any kind of light indoors, and then of course outside would be no problem at all. The only problem was the screen was dark. It had a screen in it that I didn't think it looked like it was very bright. You couldn't really see the image well all the way to the corners. You could see the middle, and it was a little dark there too. And I thought, I wish I could get a brighter screen. And there was a advertisement online somewhere. I came across it, and they were advertising bright screens, and they were clearancing them, and I think I paid maybe $60 or something for it. And I ordered it, and it came in a kit, and I put it in, and I've taken the 4 screws. There's 4 screws on this, right here, 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 and here. I've taken those 4 screws off before, and then this whole piece just comes off, and then your ground glass is just sitting underneath of it. What I ended up doing was I took it off this time, and this time I found the 2 springs that they show you how to do, pull the springs out, and then the old ground glass comes out, and then put the new ground glass in its place. The one thing it did not say when I was looking online for this clearance screen, anything about shims, anything about putting in some kind of spacers and modifying the height and it's like, what? I don't know how to do that. I don't want to do that. I just want to replace the screen. Can't you make the screen the same width? Well, apparently they don't. Sometimes they might be, and sometimes they're not. So I installed it, and when I installed it, I did not put in shims. And I thought, I wonder if it's going to be accurate focus. So they said, focus at something far away, see if infinity focus is falling into place. And it does seem to be. So I put a roll of film in, and I shot it, just some photos of my house, my car, and when I process it, they look sharp. So I think that I got away without having to put shims in. But I might be wrong, and I might have to go back and say, you know what, it's not as sharp as it could be. Or I find I'm tweaking focus. After I focus, I have to back it off or push it forward a bit. And I don't want to have to do that. I want to be able to make it right. I also shoot a lot of things outside at 250 f11. At 250 f11, maybe it doesn't make any difference because the depth of field is so great. Maybe it only matters at 2.8. And I did do tests at 2.8 and at smaller apertures, but I like the 2.8C. I like all the older Rolleiflexes, but I often find they have dim screens. And if you can get a bright screen, it's like night and day. Now, edge to edge, that screen is absolutely bright. And it wasn't. It was hard to use before. In fact, I wouldn't take it out because I would be like, you know what, I don't really want to deal with that dark screen. If I was going to be anywhere inside, I knew I was going to be fighting, trying to see the whole viewfinder. And in photography, seeing the viewfinder is kind of important. So I would recommend, if you are using any kind of a older Rolleicord, Rolleiflex, any kind of a Yashica that has a dark screen, it feels like the center's kind of bright, the edges are a little bit darker, and you can afford to switch it out. I don't know what company I went to, and I'm not sure I'd recommend them since they didn't mention anything about shims, but I would recommend, there are a few companies online that I know advertise that they create replacement screens. Well worth it. When you have a camera that you can see, it's a bright screen, everything is so clear, it's like night and day different. And for me, I'll take this camera out now and I'll use it more. I just have to be careful at 2.8 to make sure if I'm photographing portraits, if I'm inside of a home, someplace dark, I'm getting accurate focus because of that. I think the screens looked like they were about the same width, and I didn't have a caliper to measure them, so I just kind of went with it. And I'll have to report back someday about whether it's actually working okay. But like I said, the test roll I did looked like it was good. I photographed some text on a piece of paper, and everything seemed like it was sharp. And I think I may have gotten away without doing the shims. I'm not sure why I'm so opposed to doing the shims. They want you to get some kind of glue. I'm like, well, I don't want to do all that. I just want to put the screen in. So I'm probably a little resistant. But once it's done, if it's working, it's really, really good. And you'll be glad you did if you're working with a dark screen in your twin lens reflex, Minolta's 2, Ricoh's 2. Get a bright screen. It's a huge difference. Okay, that's today's photography talk. If you're enjoying these, hit the subscribe button. If you can support, hit the Patreon. Thanks to all my supporters. I appreciate you. I'll be back next time. We'll talk more photography. As always, here's the good light.